Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. What we're going to do today is an installation and review of Morimoto XB hybrid headlights for my Ford Super Duty. If you're watching this video, it's likely that you're in the market for a new set of headlights to replace your halogen headlamps on your 2017 and newer Ford Super Duty truck. As you can see on the left, there is one of my halogen headlamps, and on the right is the Morimoto XB hybrid headlight assembly. First of all, why did I buy these? The reason I bought them is because I really don't like the factory headlights in these trucks. There's a couple of different reasons for that. The first reason is the most obvious one. They're just not that bright. High or low beams are just not very good headlights at all. And the second reason, believe it or not, even though the headlights aren't very bright, I get flashed by other people all the time with their high beams because they think I have my high beams on. My headlights are adjusted properly, so the only theory that I have is that the way these are designed on these trucks is that the top and bottom headlamps are always on. They're both dual filament bulbs, so they're always on all the time, a low or high beam. And they just switch the other filament on for the high beam. So even the low beams, it kind of looks like you have your high beams on. So I'm not really sure if that's why people flash me all the time, but it gets really annoying pretty quickly. So I purchased the Morimoto headlights with the hopes that I'll get a little increased performance out of the headlights and avoid getting flashed from other people. Okay, so let's go over a few details about the lights themselves. First, let's talk about why they're called hybrids. Morimoto offers two different models of XB headlights for these trucks. You have the regular XB headlights and then the hybrids you see here. And the reason that they're called hybrids is because they retain the factory turn signal incandescent bulb that you have right now in your truck. And that's something that the regular XB headlights replace with an LED. Another difference between these lights and the regular XB lights is there are only 2 LED modules instead of 4 in the regular XB. So then you might want to ask yourself, well, why would I buy these and not the regular XB lights? And the reason for that is pretty simple. There's quite a difference in price between the two. It's actually about $1,000 right now, if I remember correctly. I think the regular XB headlights are going for around $2,200 to $2,300 right now, and the price on the XB hybrids is right around $1,250. So if you're looking to increase the performance and the lighting on your truck and you don't really want to spend that much, then the XB hybrid's a pretty good option, and that's why I chose it myself. With the hybrids though, you do still get the LED daytime running lamp strip that goes around, which is a nice feature. So overall, these seem like a pretty good middle-of-the-road replacement that gets you increased performance over the factory headlights, but maybe not quite as high performance as the regular XB Morimoto headlights. So as far as quality is concerned, they seem to be a pretty high-quality light. Sitting there next to the factory light, they seem to be made of a lot of the same materials as the factory lights are. And on the back here, we have the harness to plug in the various different lights. These are all plug and play. There's one extra one for the daytime running lamp strip that you won't have. And for that, you have another harness that you add and plug into your fuse box on your truck. So you do have an extra wire to add, but there is no cutting and splicing or anything like that to install these, which is nice. As far as the installation goes, it seems to be pretty simple. They don't send any installation instructions in the box with the lights, but you can go on the website and get a set of installation instructions for these. And they seem pretty straightforward. It looks like all you really need to do is remove the grill and then the headlights themselves to do the install. Tools you need for the installation are listed as a 10mm socket, Phillips and flathead screwdrivers or a trim removal tool, and a pair of needle nose pliers. Now I did find one little discrepancy whenever I read through the procedure for the installation, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. There is one piece of trim here on this headlight that you see here, this black piece of trim, that isn't mentioned in their installation instructions. This piece of trim is not included on the new headlight. So if you want to retain that piece of trim, which is sort of like a filler piece between the regular XLT grill and the surrounding headlight unit, it might not necessarily be on all models, but on my XLT it's on the headlight housing. If you want to retain that, you're going to have to remove that and install it onto the Morimoto light, and that will require a T25 Torx head and a pair of needle nose pliers to remove it. After you do the installation, it's pretty important that you adjust these properly. They do provide an adjustment procedure in their instructions, and I cross-referenced that with the factory headlight adjustment procedure, and it's pretty much the same thing. So make sure you do that so you're not blinding oncoming drivers after you install these. Alright, so let's go ahead and get these installed and check them out and see how they work. Alright, so we got these installed and ready to go. Everything works correctly as it should. The next step for us is to go ahead and adjust these to the right position. For that, I'm going to have to wait till it gets dark, and we'll go ahead and do that. I'm not really going to show how to do that. It's a pretty straightforward procedure like I said earlier, but once I do that, we'll take this out for a drive at night here and see how much of an improvement that is over the stock headlights. As far as my first impressions of the lights, I think they're pretty good. I did see a pretty good improvement over the stock halogen lights. I did take it out for a drive after dark here, and I did have some before and after video, but it didn't turn out all that great. So I do have some photos right now that I'll show you that are before and after comparisons of the low and high beams of both the stock halogens and the XB hybrids. As you can see, they're substantially whiter than the stock halogens were, and they do have a pretty nice cutoff on them as well. As far as the beam cutoff is concerned, I did notice some stepping in that cutoff, and that's definitely intentional because it does show up in the adjustment procedure diagram that Morimoto shows in their instructions. So it is normal. I didn't expect to see it on both the driver and passenger side headlights though, but it is how they showed in the diagram. I did want to take a minute to talk about some of the other options that I might not have mentioned previously that could have been alternatives to buying a set of these lights. You can get replacement bulbs such as silver stars, or there are even LED replacement bulbs out there right now. And you can also get HID retrofit kits as well. Now, I did heavily consider going with an HID retrofit kit, but I decided not to after some of the research I did into it, just that people weren't generally very happy with the performance of those, where maybe one ballast was delayed coming on versus the other, some flickering, things like that, cold temperature operation wasn't so good, and so on. Also, doing the HID retrofit kit wouldn't have really solved the problem that I've had with people flashing their high beams at me coming the other way. It actually probably would have made that worse, because I would have had the same sort of appearance that looked like my high beams were on, and would have had lights that were even brighter than before. So I think it might have made that problem actually worse. So for that reason, that's why I didn't go with the HID retrofit kit, or something like a silver star or LED bulb replacement. Like I said earlier, overall I'm pretty happy with my choice. It is a pricey choice, but like I said before, it's definitely a substantial price drop versus the regular XB lights, though the performance probably isn't quite as good as those. It's still much better than stock halogens. So I think for me, given the amount of money that I was willing to spend on something like this, I should be pretty happy with what I've done. Alright everybody, that's pretty much all I have for today's video. Stay tuned, because coming up I'm actually going to install a set of the Morimoto XB fog lights that go along with these headlights. I decided to pick up a set of those as well when I did the headlights. I was going to originally do that as part of this video, but I didn't want to make this video too long, so I decided to separate that out. So the next video you see on the channel here will probably be for the installation of those. So stay tuned, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.